While this channel is meant to be about the design and development of games that I make, I'm going to make an exception with this video, because as it's becoming a pattern, I got sidetracked and made something for personal use that other people might find helpful too. Worth noting that I wanted to have this video out a week ago, as this was supposed to be a quick weekend project, but then it became a quick half-a-week project, and then it became personal. But I'll get to that later. The whole thing actually started over a year ago, when I, as a proud owner of over 2000 videos long music playlist on YouTube, became disappointed not only with the YouTube's lackluster shuffle feature, but also with existing playlist randomizers. Because, yes, they do a good job shuffling the entire playlist, but you don't always feel like listening to the entire playlist. Or at least I don't. So I decided to make a better one myself. There was one small issue. I don't think I've ever done any meaningful amount of coding in JavaScript at that point, but that is where my absolutely favorite feature of LLMs came in, which is that you often don't need to know a specific programming language, as long as you have general programming knowledge. If you can write out the algorithm you want, you can use an LLM as a plain language to a programming language compiler. And if you actually look at the stuff it outputs, instead of blindly copy-pasting it, you will learn the language over time. And a week and a bit ago, I decided that some small improvements to what I put together back then would go a long way towards making this truly an ultimate playlist shuffler for me, and for people who are like me. Turns out, more than small improvements were needed, but now I am proud to present to you QConstruct, which I am releasing for everyone to use and edit as they please. So let's begin by running through the features of this little website. If you would rather read about them, they are also described in the README on the GitHub page, a link to which is in the description. Before you do anything, you must get your own YouTube API key, paste it in here, and click Save. It is then saved locally in the browser and will be reloaded automatically. Getting an API key is fairly easy, there's plenty of tutorials out there for how to do it, and it is free. And once you have that set up, the next step is to actually create a database of the videos you want shuffled, which you do by putting links to individual videos, or if you don't like wasting time, to entire playlists into this field and clicking the button. You can import any video and any playlist as long as they aren't private. If you want to share the database between browsers or devices, you can export it with this download data button and import it with the choose files. You don't have to do this to preserve the data in between web page resets, as I have implemented an autosave system, and as long as your database isn't too large, which would be quite an achievement, as at over 2,500 videos I'm not even a quarter of the way towards filling the maximum allowed storage. This is one of the many improvements that were sorely lacking in the old version, as you can see from my downloads folder. But now you can see that if I refresh the page, I'll get a prompt to load the autosave, and with a single click the app is ready to be used. I'll skip the two managers for now and get to the main reason for this thing's existence, which is the playlist system. Here you can set up a playlist by specifying what tags it should include and exclude, and it will automatically construct a list of all videos in the database that have at least one of the included tags and none of the excluded tags. By default, each video is tagged with the name of the channel it's on, and the playlist it was imported from, but you can also add whatever tags you want manually. For some examples, here's some of the playlists that I set up for myself. The default one is using a special all tag, so this playlist will contain the entire database except for ones marked as and meh, being the very descriptive tags that I added for videos I might not feel like watching and ones I probably won't feel like watching respectively. Null is a tag that got automatically added to some videos back on the old version, and I believe it came from trying to import a video from a deleted channel, but I am not sure if that's the case or how it would appear in the updated one. Old is another custom tag that I used to mark songs that I originally added in one version, but then found an extended version or a remaster that was an objective improvement. And unavailable is a special tag, which is automatically added to videos that cannot be played via the YouTube API. Typically that happens because of various copyright adjacent reasons. This Sabaton playlist is simply the videos by Sabaton, achieved with just a single tag. But the main appeal of this website is that if you one day decide that what would really help you focus is the combination of Sabaton music, songs inspired by Souls-like games, and the ones that you found particularly uplifting or inspiring so far, setting that up takes seconds. And that's not something you can do with normal playlists. Then the buttons here on each playlist card are, I think, pretty self-explanatory, with maybe 2 exceptions. The export button downloads the playlist as a text file containing links to all the videos in it, and append adds the shuffled playlist to the current queue, as opposed to play, which replaces the queue with the shuffled playlist. These 2 buttons are used for refreshing the queue in 2 different ways. Reshuffle takes the current queue and shuffles it. Regenerate replaces the queue with the shuffled version of the playlist selected. So it restores any videos that you have manually removed from the queue, takes into account any changes to tags, and removes any appended playlists. Then, when you actually play something, you get the preview of the queue here. You can skip to any video you want, you can remove any video from the queue. If the queue is long enough to lose track of where the currently playing video is, you can click this button to scroll to it, and you can also remove all videos with a given tag, although I'm not sure how useful that particular feature is. And the loop the playlist and skip unavailable video toggles are pretty self-explanatory. Here, in the currently playing section, you get the information about the video, with the ability to add and remove tags. Just like all the other tag inputs, this one has autofill with all the existing tags, but you can also add your own tags here. There are start and end timestamps. If a video has a particularly long intro or outro, you can have it start later or end sooner automatically. And this delete button is red, because that one permanently removes the video from the database, not just from the current queue. And going back to the 2 managers, in Tag Manager you can view all the tags sorted by category then alphabetically, and here you can edit tags categories, rename or delete them, and preview what videos they contain. You can also filter the tags displayed by name and category. The Custom Category Manager is a simpler one, and does exactly what the name implies, allowing you to set up categories to help you categorize your tags. Of course, this is the type of tool that becomes better the more you use it. Initially you will only have the tags for playlist and channel, but as long as you once in a while add tags to whatever is currently playing, you will soon enough have the ultimate playlist shuffling solution. And if that sounds like a useful set of features to you, here's how you can actually use it. If you want the minimal setup, you go to erukolindo.github.io/QConstruct. There is a link in the description, and you can just use it from there. If you are on a Chromium browser or another one that supports PWA installation, you can also do that from there. However, what I would personally recommend is for you instead to go to github.com/erukolindo/QConstruct, again, link in the description, and download it. Then you just unzip it, go into the folder and open index.html, and it will work basically the same, with one notable difference. That being that YouTube API seems to serve less or even no ads on pages that are run from a local file. Any of these methods should work fine on any platform with a modern browser, with one caveat. At least on Android, I couldn't find a single browser that is actually capable of correctly opening a local website. All of them are doing it through a temporary content link instead of a file path, which results in them not loading the JavaScript that makes the website actually work. And that is an unbelievably baffling behavior that I struggled with for half a day. Supposedly it is related to some security reasons, but I could not see much logic in that, especially since the same type of browser on Windows is able to do this, and you would think they should, because this is a very basic thing of opening a file of the type that the program was created to run. And this annoyed me to a point where I looked into making my own app for the express purpose of running a website from local files. Because when this box of electronic rocks, capable of nothing but basic math, is trying to defy me and refuses to do something that I know for a fact it can, it becomes a matter of principle. I learned coding so that I can tell it what it can do, not the other way around. And so, in spite of the fact that I had to use Android Studio for the first time, in spite of having to interact with Kotlin, which is one of the unhinged programming languages which for some reason separates lines of code with nothing but new line, and with nothing but spite towards Android, I have created FileWebViewer. And it's also on GitHub, both as a source code and an installable APK, with a link in the description. It's a tiny app. All it can do is open a folder that contains an HTML file and run it. And you can see the console, which is another thing that most of the Android browsers lack. And that's pretty much it. Both QConstruct and FileWebViewer are open source, so if you think you can improve them, go right ahead. I would love to see it. For people still waiting for updates on my game projects, I have news. Not really good or bad, just news. I am still learning .NET, and I came up with a neat idea that will allow me to continue doing so while making a new game. You can expect an update on it within a week or two, once I have enough of it to be worth showing off. So, until then, farewell.